You become rich the moment you refuse to quit. They will tell you that riches are money. That wealth is a number printed on a bank statement. That success is the luxury you can touch, the gold you can flaunt, the mansion you can walk through. But here is the truth that almost no one dares to say out loud. You become rich the very moment you refuse to quit. Because until that moment, you are poor no matter what you own, no matter what you wear, no matter how the world sees you. Poor in spirit, poor in discipline, poor in belief. But the instant you decide that no obstacle will break you, no setback will silence you, no failure will define you, at that instant, wealth begins flowing into your life. Not in dollars first, but in strength. Not in possessions, but in power. And from that power, all things material will eventually come. Think of Thomas Edison, a man who failed not once, not 100 times, but thousands of times in front of the same problem. A man who burned through materials, through money, through hope, while the world laughed and told him he was wasting his life chasing an impossible dream. But Edison refused to quit. And so the light bulb that you take for granted, that illuminates your nights, that makes modern civilization possible, was born out of the refusal to quit. Had he stopped at the 500th failure, you and I would still be in darkness. And what was Edison's true wealth? It wasn't the patents or the factories or the fortune that later followed. His wealth was the decision, I will not quit until I win. That is the seed of riches. That is the birth of destiny. The world belongs to the stubborn, not the gifted, to the relentless, not the lucky. The men and women who carved empires, who built industries, who shifted history, were not the ones who found life easy. They were the ones who found reasons to keep going when life became unbearable. Andrew Carnegie, a boy who arrived in America with nothing, working 12-hour shifts in a factory for pennies. A boy so poor he borrowed books because he could not afford them. And yet, with unshakable vision and the refusal to quit, that boy rose to dominate the steel industry and became one of the richest men of his era. Carnegie's millions were not made in furnaces and factories. They were made in his mind when he refused to accept poverty as his destiny. You see, the world is testing you. Every failure, every disappointment, every betrayal, every sleepless night is life asking you one question: will you quit? Most people do. Most people surrender when the pressure rises. They let fear become stronger than faith. They let temporary defeat become permanent failure. They accept mediocrity and they call it fate. But the few, the rare few, answer differently. They say, do what you will, life. Throw what you want at me. I will not stop. I will not bend. I will not quit. And in that moment, life surrenders. Because life has no defense against a soul that cannot be broken. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election, faced ridicule, buried the woman he loved, lost children to illness, suffered depression so deep he could barely rise from bed. And still he refused to quit. And when destiny finally opened the door, he walked through it as the president who would save a nation and write his name into eternity. You think riches are money? No, riches are the iron spirit that refuses to quit. Riches are the fire in your chest that keeps burning when the storm has drowned every other flame. Riches are the unshakable faith that says, I was not born to live average. I was born to live victorious. So understand this. The day you stop quitting is the day you start winning. Every empire was once just a dream. Every fortune was once just a belief. Every hero was once just a human who refused to give in. The most dangerous man in the world is not the strongest, nor the smartest, nor the wealthiest, is the man who refuses to quit. Because against him, no setback lasts, no failure sticks, no defeat holds. He cannot be bought, he cannot be broken, he cannot be stopped. You want wealth? Then train your mind to outlast your circumstances. Teach your heart to beat louder than your fears. Build a will so strong that nothing, no rejection, no betrayal, no delay can break it. Because the universe itself bends to the one who refuses to surrender. Remember this, you become rich the moment you refuse to quit, not after the money comes. Not after the world applauds, not after the evidence is visible. You are rich the moment you decide, I will never stop until I win. And once that decision is made, the rest of the world has no choice but to yield.